Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
$10,000. What does $10,000 mean to you? Upgrade your car? Home repairs? Trying to think of some other things. School for your kids? Nice vacation? $10,000. For most of us, that's a big deal. That's a lot of money. And for some people, that's the difference between being able to pay their mortgage, being able to pay their rent, being able to go to a doctor, being able to eat, all the things that are necessities in life. So we're going to talk about how I almost got scammed and never imagined that I would almost, not quite, but almost fall victim to a scam. And I could see how it happens to a lot of people. So I want to welcome everybody to You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul. Justin Mirigliani here on a Monday night. Great to have you. Hopefully people will join the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are. So this is about 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, I was in the middle of a lot of things. I had my wisdom tooth pulled out, a lot of pain, and it was just the stitches in, and it was just not feeling good. And I had swollen glands. I had a sinus infection, and a lot of stuff going on at the same time. I had work things to get done. I had things to get done, post-divorce and post-selling the house to try to get, my life back under control. And I got a phone call from a private line, and I don't pick up calls unless I know who it is. But when it's a private line, I'm always worried that it's a hospital saying somebody's been hurt, somebody's sick. And I just don't want to take the chance. So I did pick it up. And the person on the other line told me that I was in contempt of court because I missed jury duty. I didn't show up for grand jury duty. And I said, well, when was the letter sent? See, I hadn't heard about this scam yet. I heard about it later. For some way, somehow, I didn't know about it for the news. And my thoughts were, well, it's probably either a scam or because I was in transition from one house to another, maybe it got lost in the mail. Maybe in the transfer. So when mail would go to the home that my ex-wife and my kids were in, they would take the mail to me when it would come in for me. And the kids would just say, here, Dad, here's your mail. And I asked him, I said, well, when did this letter come in? And he said it was signed for. Now I'm thinking, did my ex-wife sign? And did it get lost? No, I don't think I wasn't thinking that anybody was doing this with malintent. I just figured, could it gotten lost in a car? Could it all the things. So if that had not happened, if I had been living in the same house for a long time, I would have known that it was a scam right off the bat. But that gave me just a little bit of pause to say, I wonder if it really is true. So I said to the quote officer, the fake sheriff, I said, how do I know this is not a scam? That was the first thing I said. I said, how do I know this is real or not? And he gave me a callback number, which checked out. Okay. And the whole deal was, he said, you can't hang up the phone. If you hang up the phone, you waive your right to I don't remember what it was called, but it waived my right to be able to not be in contempt of court, whatever it was. So I had to stay on the phone with him, and wasn't sure what to do. And I should have known better because he was stuttering, and I was thinking this doesn't sound like a police officer. But all my good instincts, I kept fighting. I kept saying, no, maybe this is real. Maybe this is real. Every time I thought, this is a scam. And I got into the car, and he handed me off to another quote officer, and they said, well, you got to drive over here to New Jersey, and I was in Pennsylvania where I'm living staying at the moment. And I had to get there, and I said, okay, and I had to pay for this, whatever it was, to get out of trouble. And I went to the bank like a dope and took out $10,000. And I had the money in several envelopes, scared to death that, if I drop one or somebody tried to rob me, I can't hold on to all those envelopes. Somebody might walk away with thousands of dollars. And I got in the car, and he asked me to read something. So I read it, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, why am I reading this? He's probably recording my voice. Again, I overrode my own instincts. I said, well, maybe this is true. And then what stopped me was when he said, take the money and turn it into Bitcoin. Immediately, I knew that was a scam. As soon as he said Bitcoin, I was out. I knew it wasn't true. So while I was talking to him, I took a screenshot of these amazing. I wanted to show them today. I'll try it now and see if I can share my screen. I couldn't earlier, but I'll try it because I wanted to show everyone what these. Yeah, it's blocked. Okay, maybe some other time I'll bring them up, or I'll put them on YouTube or Facebook, whatever. But they were files that looked extremely, extremely official. It had the correct addresses of all these different places. It had pictures of the police station, which I know the police station. I've been in it before due to a car accident. So it checked out. They also had my phone number. Obviously, they called me. They had my birthday. They had my social security number. They actually told me. They said, is this your social security number? Or this is. They didn't say, is this? They said, this is your social security number. Now I'm like, all right, well, it seems legit. If nothing else, they have all my information anyway. So, like I said, when I got in the car, I put it in the ChatGPT on the phone after they said Bitcoin, and obviously it was a scam. Yeah, I was angry. I said a few things that I can't say here, but I was embarrassed, and as I'm telling you this, I'm embarrassed because I'm a kid who grew up in South Philadelphia on the street. I wasn't, you know, uh, roaming the streets day and night, but I lived in a place where you got to be street smart, at least to an extent. And I know all the tricks, hold the keys between your knuckles, use windows as mirrors to know who's coming up behind you, don't be on your phone, always keep people in your peripheral vision, don't make eye contact, all the things that you learn when you grow up in the city. And it's not like I'm not educated. I have a master's degree in education. Not a genius, but not stupid either. And yet, with all that, with the street smarts and the education, all that, and I almost got taken for $10,000. Now, some people might say, "Well, yeah, but you figured it out before." And that's not the point. I wasted an hour. I took the money out, which I still can't believe I did that. But my point is, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. It happens all the time. And it usually happens when, and I'm going to do a show on this later. I'm learning so much about the central nervous system, how it works, and how sometimes it doesn't work. And once that central nervous system gets fried, once it's overloaded, you'll start making bad decisions. And mine was overloaded. I had the tooth issue, I had work issues, I had domestic issues, um, sinus infection. I was taking the antibiotics, and it was just one thing after another. And I just got weak and almost made a grave mistake. Now, if I lost $10,000, that would have it would be very painful. It would be really, really a tough hit, especially going trying to get back on my feet again with business and everything else since I was in the hospital and the divorce and all the other stuff that went on, and it knocks you back a little bit. So now that I'm moving in the right direction, a $10,000 hit would have been pretty tough. I don't know if I would get over it right away. It would take a while for me to rationalize, especially if I did it to myself by doing something foolish. But then I started to think about, would I survive if I lost $10,000? Of course, I would survive. I would go on. Like I said, I'd be angry at myself, angry at these horrible, horrible people who do this stuff. But at the end of the day, I'd be all right. Make the money back, no big deal. A year from now, just be a distant memory. But what if it's an older person who's on a fixed income and their rent or their mortgage is, I don't know, let's say it's low, $1,200 a month, whatever it is. So if you take $10,000 out of their account, that's almost, not quite a year of 9 months, maybe 10 months, about 10 months worth, or 9 months, whatever. Can't do all the math in my head. 9 or 10 months worth of rent. So pretty much most of the year you've taken away their rent. Or if they have a mortgage. And again, going on the low side, let's say it's $1,200. That's a pretty low mortgage today. Well, again, subtract $10,000 from that person, and they might not be able to keep that house. They might not be able to stay in that apartment. Or even if they can, how are they going to make up the 10,000? What are they going to do? Are they going to not eat for a month or 2 or 3? They're going to go without medication for a month or 2 or 3? What's going to happen? I don't know, and I say this all the time. This show's not about answers; it's about questions. I don't know what can be done to stop this. I don't. I wish there was. I wish I did. If I had a way to stop it, then people would be a lot safer, and I would be a lot richer. And there are some. I froze my credit so nobody could open up a credit card in my name and my social security number. Um, I'm getting an app for a yearly subscription to scour the dark web and try to get my name off of the dark web. But here's the thing that I knew that a lot of people had their social security number compromised. I knew that was true without even looking, but I did the research. 80% of us, 80% of us have our social security number compromised, meaning somebody's got it and it's not you. And I didn't do the deep dive to figure out the 20%, are they mostly children who don't have credit, who don't own a car, don't own a house, so they don't have much of a record of their lives other than the social security number. So out of that 20%, I mean, how many are kids? Is it almost all of them? Or is it, whatever? Now, even if you're homeless, at one time you probably had a home, at one time you might have had a car. Your social security number's out there. And I don't know much about the dark web. I have friends who do. It's just not my area of expertise, and it's not something that I have time to learn. It's interesting, but not enough to take away business time or family time or anything like that. Excuse me. But I don't know, can somebody come up with a way that we could stop this? I mean, I called the FBI, told them about it, called the police, told them about it. What can they do? Can't hunt these people down that I know of. They probably have burner phones and everything else. But there's gotta be something that will be done. I hope maybe somebody smarter than me will come up with an app or come up with a program or something where it'll shut this down somehow. I don't know how that would work. I did see there's a guy, I can't remember his name now, but he's been on YouTube for a long time, and he purposely gets scammed. He has scammers call him, or I don't know how he does it, but and he's gone as far as learning languages from around the world. So let's say it was Pakistan. Um, he can tell what they're saying when they're talking about him and how they're going to um, take over his account, whatever it is. And he just sits there, and while they're trying to scam him, he lets them go get onto his computer. And he goes into their computer and they don't know it, and he wipes out all their accounts, all of the files that they painstakingly got from uh, scamming people and also purchasing them on the dark web. And he wipes out thousands and thousands and thousands of files. And I mean, they go ballistic. They're screaming and yelling, and um, I think it's great. I think it's great. I think we need more people to do that. The problem is how difficult it is to get to that level of skill. To be able to do that is not that easy. You can't say, well, I'm going to learn that in 5 days. It doesn't work that way. You have to really be good at coding and cybersecurity, all the things that will allow you to do that. I think it goes again, and look, I make my money teaching computer programs. I make my money working with AI. I'm not trying to be a huckster, but you got to learn AI. You have to. Because if I didn't learn AI, I might not have even the thought to put the screenshots that I can't show you today. Would not have even thought to put them in ChatGPT and ask, is this legitimate or is this a scam? Now, granted, Bitcoin would have clinched it for me. When he said Bitcoin, I was done. I knew that there's no way that a police station would ask for Bitcoin. And also drop it off at a kiosk. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, all right, this is garbage. But I double checked it anyway. Went on to ChatGPT and it confirmed what I thought. And then I told him pretty much to go pound sand. Now, some people will say to me, well, the reason why this happened was you because of AI. Because of AI. So AI was the way they were able to scam you. AI was the way they were able to set you up. AI was the way they created all these realistic documents. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But they got it. They're not going to be. It's not going to go away. You're not going to be able to say, well, you know what? I don't like AI because AI allows people to be thieves and allows people to do all these things. Yeah, it does, and that's terrible. But you got to arm yourself. Why would you want them to have all the power and you not have that power? So, again, you have to take the things you don't like about any technology. whatever it is. Today it's artificial intelligence, and it's mind-blowing what's changing. And yeah, people are going to abuse it. There's no doubt about it. But you have opportunity to combat that by making yourself knowledgeable with AI. You'll be able to put these documents into whatever you use, Claude or ChatGPT, whatever it is, and you can see what you think. And older people, it's probably even more important. It's getting harder to decide what's real and what's not. It really is, and I'm saying that as somebody who knows AI pretty well. I'm now getting into machine learning, which is a whole nother thing. But every once in a while, I see something, I have no idea if it's real or not. I have to look it up in other places. All right, so I hope somebody will chat in and let us know what your thoughts are, what you think can be done, and if you've ever been in this position before, hopefully not. And we'll continue on after this.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
Welcome back. So great book, by the way. Aging does suck. In fact, I have another pair of glasses that I wear. These are my readers. These are for distance. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but you got to fight it as much as possible. And Red's book will help you not only accept age, but also turn back the hands of time a little bit. You can't do it completely, but in some ways. But I was thinking on the break about what should be the punishment for this. I don't know. If somebody's caught and can be tried for it, what should the punishment be? Should it be commiserate with whatever damage they've done? In other words, if an elderly person or couple loses their home because of it, should that be one punishment? If somebody like me lost $10,000 where it's painful, but it's not life-altering, what's the punishment in that case? What if it's somebody who's a billionaire? Not much damage done there, but still theft. Still taking money from somebody and it's not yours. What should the punishment be? And how would you even enforce it? I have no idea. And it's not just, I said earlier about the guy who scammers. And most of those scams that he has are in other countries. But there's some right here in the U.S. In fact, the people that I talked to on the phone didn't have any accent at all. They sounded just like anybody else. No accent. Sound like, in fact, if any accent, they sounded like they had a Northeast accent, like I do. Philadelphia, New York, Boston. Well, Boston's a little different. They have a heavier accent, but they weren't foreign. or the stereotypical uh, scammer that we think of. The ones that this guy, I wish I could remember his name. One day I'll remember it and I'll mention it. Just amazing to watch him do that. It's fun. It really is fun to see them get a taste of what it's like. The hours and hours that they put in to do that, and he goes in and just wipes out their files in 30 seconds. And they're devastated. To me, that's extremely satisfying to see that. I've watched many of his videos, and every time I'm thrilled that he does it. Part of me wishes that I had the time and the patience and the aptitude to do the same thing, because I would take so much pleasure in doing that. I really would. And maybe there's a little bit of a not because of this situation, because I didn't get burned. I almost got burned, almost got scammed. But for everybody who's gotten scammed, and for everybody who has been hurt by this kind of thing, you could call it whatever you want. You could call it revenge. That's fine. So be it. Yeah, I would like to get revenge. I think that's, in this case, legitimate. That's justice in this case. Now, I thought when I went and looked everything over, I talked to the people at the bank and talked to them about what would have happened if I had given out the $10,000. And they said, well, it would just be gone. There's nothing you could do. If it was on a credit card or something like that, then yeah, you could stop it. But if it's cash that you took out of the bank, now if they got into my bank account, that's a different story. Then yeah, I would be protected. But if I took out the cash and gave it to them, that's it. It's gone. So when I called the police station, they said, you're about the 10th person to call us this week. And she said, unfortunately, 7 of them or so, 6, 7, 8, whatever it was, they were scammed, and they did pay the money, and they were out at whatever, 10,000, 5,000, whatever it was. And she said that what's sad is that that's it. There's no recourse. There's no way to get that money back. So then I started thinking, is there a way that a fund could be set up for people who are in that position, for people who were scammed? And I'm not talking about people like for me, if I got scammed, I'm not in a position where I would need to be bailed out. But what if I were on a fixed income? What if I were elderly? What if I did have, and I do, I have kids to going into college. I mean, $10,000 is a big deal. So maybe I would be a beneficiary of this. But in any event, what I was thinking was, could there be a fund where, and you'd have to have a tremendous amount of scrutiny to know if people were really defrauded or not. There would have to be some way to vet everyone and find out if they're not scamming the system. But should there be a fund out there where if people are hurt by this, there's some way that they can get some of their money back? Again, if it's somebody who's on a fixed income with a mortgage or a rent that is, $15,000 for the year, let's say, to keep it simple. So 15 grand, and you take $10,000 away, well, you just took away most of their money for shelter. They only have 5,000 left. They got to make that up somehow. And again, as I said in the beginning, how do they make it up? Do they sell off what they have? Do they go without food, medicine? I don't know. Whenever I get into a situation like this, or an illness, or whatever it is, when I was in the hospital, the first things I think about are what can be done to fix this. And I haven't gotten really much done for many of the things that I try to champion. I have my charity and it's done well. It's not $1 million charity though. It's not something that's setting the world on fire. Happy about it, making a little difference, not a huge difference. I would love to make a huge difference. But whatever it is, whenever I have an injury or sickness or something goes wrong, my first instinct is, what can I do to make this not happen for anyone else? And it's not altruistic completely. I mean, some of it is. Some of it's altruistic. Some of it is because I want to help other people. But a lot of it is that's the only way you get to get back at them. Hey, you got punched. I want to punch you back. And again, people might look at that and say, well, that's revenge motivated. Okay, if that's what it is, it is. But hey, look, when I had my colon removed, I was pissed. I wasn't happy about it. And yeah, I was mad at the disease. I was mad at the situation. And that's why the charity happened, because I wanted revenge. I was going to beat up my colon. I mean, it wasn't like there was anybody to hit or anybody to fight or anybody. But I knew that if I started the charity and got involved with people with Crohn's and colitis and ostomies, that would be my way of telling the disease to do, what. And again, in this case, I think the end justifies the means. Part of it was out of anger. I'm not still angry about it. It's 11 years later. I mean, I'm not devastated by it. I don't think about it every day. But right now, as I think about it, it's like, why did that have to happen? Why, out of all the people in the world, not that anybody else deserves it, I'm not saying that, but how was it me? Like, how did that possibly be my reality? But then there are other people who have it way worse who probably say the same thing. Why is it me? Why did Justin get a chance to have the ostomy and I got colon cancer and, it spread and I'm in serious trouble? So they might look at me and say, well, you're the lucky one. I might look at somebody who's got a healthy colon and doing great and say, well, you're lucky. But the point is, I get frustrated when I don't have a way to make something better out of something bad. And this is just another one of those cases. And I didn't lose any money. I didn't lose a cent. All I lost was about an hour of time. Not that that's a big deal, but it makes me angry when I sit and think about all the people that I mentioned who need that money. And let's face it, anybody watching this, unless you are very well off, $10,000 really does make a difference. It may not be life changing, but it's certainly big enough that it's the difference between going on vacation this year and not, or paying a hefty part of tuition for your kids or not, home repairs, car, whatever it is. I mean, these things aren't cheap. People are paying $300 a month in groceries right now, depending on what you buy, depending on how many people you have to feed, but $300 a month. That's a lot of money. Is that $3,600 a year? You just knocked out $10,000. That's what, almost 3 years worth of, a little less than 3 years worth of groceries. That's a hit. That's a hit. So I don't know. I mean, maybe people watching this can come up with something and figure out a way. I can't champion every cause. I mean, I want, that's my instinct is when there's something that has affected me in some way or another, I want to do something about it. And over the last year or so, I've really done a better job of realizing that I can't do everything. I can't champion every cause. I can't set up a charity for everything. But maybe somebody can. Maybe somebody can do something about this. Maybe they're, like I said, I have an idea of a fund. It would be a lot of work. It would take a lot of vetting. It would take a tremendous amount of people power and computing power and knowledge. But is it possible? And we raise money for so many other things that are really worthwhile. Cancer, muscular dystrophy, my charity for Crohn's, colitis, and ostomy patients, people who are victims of domestic violence, all these different things. And they're, like I said, they're all worthwhile causes. I'm not saying take money away from these places or these causes, but is this another one that we could do? You know, I've been very open about mental illness and my struggles with it for a lifetime. And yeah, I mean, I want to help people with mental illness too. I want to. I've been affected by it. I want to be able to help people get through it. It takes money to do these things. It's not like it's one of the most frustrating things is that even when you want to do something really, really that means a lot to you, that's something you dream about, something that you think about all the time, and knowing that a lot of it will never get done because there's just not the funds to do it. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like a gerbil on a treadmill because you're on a wheel because you're running and running and running and running and running. You're not getting anywhere. I've always said that I wish, I even pray for this, that someday I have a ton of money. Yes, I will enjoy it. Yes, I will buy a house where I want to buy a house. Yes, I will get the car that I want. All those things. I'll enjoy it. I'll make sure my kids are set, the rest of my family set. But man, there would be so many things that I would do with that money that I hope would make a difference, that my charity would be a lot stronger if there was cash in it, if there was more money in it, if I was able to pump tons of money into it. You know, people who struggle with mental illness, you know, different things to help them. You know, I saw people when I was in the hospital who, when they got out of the hospital, had no job to go to. You know, here's somebody who's struggling with depression, anxiety, whatever it is, and they're being treated for it. But once they're treated for it, they don't have a job to go to. So what do? They go back to their house and hope they don't get foreclosed or they don't get evicted. You got to scramble to try to find something. What if we had a fund that helped these people? Again, I'm not saying that I can do it. Yeah, I'd certainly be willing to help people who could do it. I can't champion every cause. And this is just another one. People who get scammed. People who, I can't imagine what it would be like to look at my kids and say, I can't feed you because some moron scammed me and took the money that I need to feed you. I mean, how does that, it's repulsive. So, two things. One, I wish I could show you the file so you could see what they look like to avoid that type of thing. But one is do your best to not get in that situation because it can happen to anybody. It really can. So arm yourself with the things you need. Social media, watch the news, AI, use tools that are going to make it easier. And then number two, what can be done for people who are in a position where this has damaged them beyond repair or to the point where they have to make some really, really tough decisions. Like, will I eat tonight or will I not eat tonight? So be careful, be aware. I know it's frustrating. I'm frustrated. They didn't get the money. And maybe the good thing about it is this show tonight, that I'm able to share this with you and save somebody else from possibly making a mistake that could be really costly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul. This is USA Global TV and Radio, and join us for all kinds of different programming. Dr. Jacqueline has created an amazing platform here where we get to share a lot of stuff, personal stuff, and knowledge about all different things. And we're happy to do it, and we're happy that you're a part of it. All right, I will see you next week.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio. My Tummy Hurts by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends, and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA.
Every day, we wake up knowing what we should do. We know we should take better care of ourselves. We know we should have the difficult conversation. We know we should stop making excuses. We know we should invest in our future. We also know we should take the first step. So why don't we? It's not because we aren't smart enough. It's not because we don't have enough information. And it's certainly not because we don't care. We live in a world overflowing with knowledge. Books, podcasts, videos, courses, experts, even artificial intelligence. We have more access to information than any generation before us. Yet so many of us are still waiting for the right time, waiting to feel ready, waiting until tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and before you know it, another opportunity has passed us by. The truth is, knowing has never been the finish line. It's only the starting line. Our lives don't change because we know more. Our businesses don't grow because we know more. Our relationships don't improve because we know more. And our health doesn't transform because we know more. Everything changes when we act. When we choose courage over comfort, progress over perfection, action over intention. The question isn't, what else do we need to know? The question is, what are we going to do with what we already know? Stop. Why Knowing Isn't Enough by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Because knowing opens the door. Action changes your life. Available September 2026.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.